Good morning, everybody. This is the project that we're going to be completing, working on. And so I just wanted you to all have a good look at it and see what it looks like. And this is the Google SketchUp form of what it looks like. What we're going to do is have one group build the table, one group will build this bench, and one group will build this bench. And once we have it all together, we will attach it together with these beams that go across here. So I just wanted you to also have a look at what it looks like from the upside down portion, because basically a lot of what we do will be building it from the bottom side. So just, you can just see what it looks like with all the pictures that are on here. And yeah, and now we're gonna get going on it. All right, well, we're gonna just start putting this together. This is the bench part of it, and basically it works exactly the same. So first thing is to make sure that these long 2x4s are, the good side is face down, and then we want to be in a nice place where it's level. So I just put some 2x4s underneath here so that it keeps it nice and level. So basically once we've got that all laid out and ready to go, first thing we're going to do is just add a little bit of glue to each of these ends of the 2x4. These are 45-degree cut, so then we're going to glue them, and when they're glued they should kind of hold in place, and it gets to a place where we are set, and we have a 90-degree, so it's like a rectangular shape. And with 2 or 3 of you working on this, you should be able to hold it and make it in place. Okay, so once that's in place, added this glued in place, we're just going to provide a little stability to it. So we're just going to put this 1x4 piece and tack it together. It doesn't have to be exact, but we want to be equidistant around the outside of the wood here. We can use a tape measure to do that. It should be about 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. Just make sure that both of these are the same, and also the same on the outside. And those are put in place. And then once we've done that, we're just going to put 3 screws . So I'm just going to drill holes first so the wood won't split. And then we're just going to tack that in place, and it'll hold it nice and secure and hold the 360-degree angle. So we'll have, right now we've glue and we've got tack. We'll put 3 screws. These are short screws, and so they won't go through too far. And once we've got that done, we're just going to take one more step. We would put another one in here as well, another screw, but just for the sake of showing here, we've got this thing glued, we've got it tacked, and now what we're going to do is we're going to also add a longer screw to make this a little bit more secure. We're going to drill a hole so we don't split the wood. Again, nice to have people holding it. And also, as you drill, make sure that you just try and drill a nice straight hole. It doesn't have to be perfect, somewhere in the middle. And once we've got that, we're going to take a longer screw. These are 2.5-inch screws. And then we'll pop in one long screw, and that'll hold it nice and there we go. And now right now we're in a good position. We'll do the same on this side, and then we'll do the same at that end. And then we should have a nice rectangular piece, which is going to be our bench seat. Okay, now we've got these secured at both ends, and we're feeling good about the rectangular shape of this. It's nice and square. And so now what we're going to do is just put some of the braces on the bottom of the bench. And this is what holds the seat in place. So what we're going to do is measure from the end. We're going to measure 18 inches to the edge here, 18 inches. I'm going to make a little mark here on the 18-inch mark. And we're going to take our square, and then we're just going to draw a line right across at 18 inches. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So 18 inches, there's 18 inches. We draw a little mark, and then we use our square And now we got a straight line on there. So this brace here is just going to be holding, we want to make sure that it's straight on that line. And again, we want to make sure it's equidistant on both sides to the edge of the, and that looks about right. I'm just going to measure it to make sure. That's about 3/8 of an inch, and that's about 3/8 of an inch. Now you could use millimeters if you like, that's just fine. Okay, and once we've got this kind of in place here, what we're going to do is just put a tack in place. So we're going to drill a hole on 2 tacks on each side. So start off by just putting the drill right about 1/3 of the way up the board. Be square to it to start it. And once you've got it started, then you're going to go straight down. And then we go straight down into the wood. And again, this is what will prevent us from splitting. And then once we've got the hole drilled, we'll grab the screw and we'll put in a screw. And this should, once you've got the hole drilled, it goes in very nicely. We'll just push, make sure that we're square here, and then away we go. Just want to embed that screw a little bit so that we don't feel it, and it's okay to make that, we'll cover that off later. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now that we've got these 2 initial braces on, we're going to be having to put this cross brace, which is going to give this bench a little bit more stability. So we're going to measure it, get it in the right spot. And so we want to make sure that this is right in the middle. So this is going to be 4 inches. We want to make sure that this is going to be centered. It doesn't have to be exact, but we want to be as close as we can with our measurements. And then we're going to screw it in from this side over here. So we'll drill and screw 2 holes on each side. And we need to do this first because when we put the legs on, the next step is the legs. Excuse me. So we're going to get the legs in place. So the legs will go on here, and we can't screw from this side if these legs are in place. So we'll get these screws in first. The legs are going to go in next. And then we're going to have our last brace that will also provide stability for, and that's going to be the legs. We'll have that on both sides, and pretty much Bob's your uncle there. Okay, so I'm just finishing this last brace here. Just going to put another screw in here. I did make a mistake. Mistakes are going to happen. After I measured the 18 inches, this board has to go on the end of the 18 inches. I forgot about that. So now that we're all in place, we've got this all completed, we're just going to flip it over and get the right side up. So now we've got, this is what the bench is going to look like. And now we're going to just put in our middle piece. And again, we want to have our good side, get our good side of the board. This is our good side. And we're going to put this in place here. And now we want this to be equidistant, and so with the measurements of the boards, actually I'm going to put this over. I like this one better, this side better. And we just want to make sure that we have the right amount of space all the way around it before we tack it in place. So we have these pieces here, which we're just going to put on the ends, and that'll create the right amount of space that we need. Put them both here. And then of course we want exactly the same on the other side. So we have these spacers that we're going to use, and we just put it right in between. Actually, that doesn't fit quite right. We need to go with these bigger ones. So here we go. There's one, there's two. Gives us an equal space. And these two will give us an equal space. And that's exactly what we're looking for. It's just a nice equal space. And now we're just going to drill a hole and tack this piece in place. So we're going to put two holes. We're going to drill 2 holes and put 2 screws. And we'll do the same at this end over here. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now the table is very similar to the bench as we showed. It's got the 2 long 2x4s, the 45-degree angles, the bracing, it's the glued corners, everything is set up in place. And now we're going to add our cross pieces in. Again, we measured 18 inches from here to our line. And then we're going to be right on that right side of that line. So we want to make sure this distance is exactly the same as the distance on the bench. Perfect. You can start now, sure. Okay, so just getting all these boards in place, we want to make sure that we have our good side up for all the boards. Okay, and then just like with the bench, we're going to get our spacers in so that we're equidistant all the way across. So we'll just get our, these little bit thicker spacers will go in on the ends, and then as we get them all set up here, something underneath here. So get these set in place. We want to be equidistant all the way. So there's one there, one here. It can be like that. And then we work on getting these in place. So I just want to get all the boards right in place. Take our time. Make sure they're the right distance apart. We always use the same level of spacer when we're putting them together. Here's one of the bigger ones, so we'll put this one at the end. And we just keep doing that all the way through so that we have a table that's equal distance between each of the ways that we go. Once we've got this in place, we're going to drill our holes and we're going to screw in our boards onto that brace at the bottom, and it'll be a really tight, nice tight fit, and the table's almost completed at that time. Okay, so just to clarify, I want to make sure that we got the measurements right. Remember that this original brace was 18 inches, but it's on the inside. So the inside is actually 16.5. That's where we want to be, is between 16.5 and 18 inches. So that first brace is. So now that we've got that place on, we've got that on the other side, exactly the same from the end. And on the benches, we need it all to be the same. We're ready to attach the braces of the table, the legs of the table. Okay, now with this, to put this on, there's 2 triangles. These are isosceles triangles. And so we want to have one of these is a smaller triangle than the bigger one here. So the bigger one, the bigger triangle is going to be the one that's up in the air. That'll take up most of the weight of the legs. The smaller triangle is going to be closer to the table. So we want to make sure that this is going to be equidistant to both sides, just like we have. So this, I've measured this before, and I found that with the same distance, this is about 2 3/4. It might vary a little bit with the benches, but that's about right. So once we've got that in place, we're going to drill. We're going to drill from this side. We're going to drill a couple of screws in here and a couple of screws into here. Tick, tick, tick. And then we're going to make sure that we brace it with the other brace. So then we'll have our other brace in place. We'll make sure that it's, again, equidistant to the outside of the table. We're going to make sure we screw it in here into the table. And then we're going to tick, tick, couple holes in each side. We'll make sure that that's nice and secure. And we can add as many screws as you want to make sure that it's nice and well put together. Do the exact same thing on the other side. And then the table's done.